So Sam Jackson just put out a post, and he was commemorating the 30th anniversary of Pulp Fiction, where he said that film changed my life, and it did. Like Spike Lee's Jungle Fever, where he played Gator, opened that door open, and his portrayal as Jules in Quentin Tarantino's Pulp Fiction kicked that door down. Like Sam could have got Oscars for Gator and Jules, and probably should have 2 Oscars by now. But man, Sam was great in that film. But when I first saw Pulp Fiction, when I walked out of the theater the first time, I was like, what did I just see? My mind was blown by that film. So much so, I think I saw that 3 times in the theater. And I was thinking, like, how much was tickets back then, back in 94? It was like a little bit over $4. So back then, yeah, this boy here, yeah, he went to see films a lot. Man, I probably couldn't do that today. But back then, yeah, for $4, yeah, I'm definitely seeing that film over again. So back in that time, I was working at the video store, Hot Tracks Music and Video. And I didn't see Reservoir Dogs, Quentin's first film, in the theater. I saw it on VHS. I was like, wow, this is really good. So then, being the pop culture person I am, I heard that his next film was going to feature Bruce Willis and Sam Jackson and Uma Thurman, who was coming off films like Jennifer 8, and John Travolta. And Travolta was really intriguing because at that point, John Travolta's career was like in the toilet. Like he can't get anything done. And it's like, man, John Travolta, that's interesting. So this film comes out. The beginning of it has Tim Roth. Tim Roth was in Reservoir Dogs. Fantastic role. Should have been nominated for an Oscar for that. Tim Roth is there with Honey Bunny, and they're in the diner and they're talking. And then all of a sudden, Tim Roth jumps on the table with a gun, and Honey Bunny is like, and everybody got that point gun. Oh my God, what is this? It's like, oh, we're not messing around. And the funny thing about Tim Roth and Honey Bunny is we don't see them again. By the time they pop back up, you have forgotten about them. So much has happened in that film with Ving Rhames and Bruce Willis. Ving Rhames pointing to his head and that infamous scene where Quentin is shooting Ving from the back of his head with the Band-Aid, talking to Willis that he has to throw a fight, and he's talking about pride with Al Green playing in the background. Then those two get involved with the whole thing with the Gimp, which is still weird. After all these years, that is still the weirdest thing ever. You got Uma and that scene with Eric Stoltz and Patricia Arquette, and they're trying to save Uma. It's like, oh my God, there was so much going on in that film. And by the time we get to Roth and Honey Bunny, it was like, oh my God, I forgot they were even in the film. That cast, I really didn't understand the title back then because I knew there was comics. But I never put that whole Pulp Fiction together. And it was a bunch of short stories in that film. That film was so good. Like when I was preparing for this interview, the Christopher Walken bit popped up. It's like, oh my God, I forgot Walken's in that film. Talking about this watch. You see this watch? I forgot Christopher Walken just popped up out of nowhere. Christopher Walken's in that film. Man, I don't even know how Quentin even put that thing together, man. I mean, the only part that I didn't kind of like was the middle part had the best scene and the worst scene to me. That was the Bruce Willis one where he was with his girlfriend and she was talking about her love of pancakes. I didn't quite get into that part, but that middle part with Willis and Travolta. So I'm watching this. It's like, oh, wow, Bruce Willis and John Travolta. This is cool. And you watch it, it's like, oh, no. It's like, oh, my God. It's like, what? What just happened here? And you look at the time, it's like, we still got a half a film to go. And it's like, oh my God. And then you just sit there stunned, and this film keeps going. And then the film keeps going. And then Travolta pops back up. And it's like, wait! How did this happen? The use of Tarantino using time was just like shifting around that thing, man. And it was like your mind was completely blown with Travolta in that role. It's like, what just happened? And when Jules and Vincent Vega, which is Travolta, walked out, and they're dressed in the shorts and the T-shirts, you realize, oh my God, all the things that happened after they left that diner. Dude. Oh my God. That film was a mind trip. And the acting's so good. Like, they got Travolta dancing again. Everybody loves a Travolta dance. Sam's speech, like, and I will break thee with great anger, and I be the Lord. So, one of the greatest. That big Kahuna Burger scene. Can I wash this down? Sam was excellent in that film, and that's the crazy thing about Pulp Fiction. It won one Oscar in 1995. The only Oscar Pulp Fiction won was Quentin Tarantino won for Best Original Screenplay. That's it. It didn't win for Best Director, Best Film. Travolta was nominated for Best Actor. Sam was nominated for Best Supporting Actor, and Uma was nominated for Best Supporting Actress. Best Film and Best Director. Best Film went to Forrest Gump, and Best Director went to Robert Zemeckis, who's also the director of Forrest Gump. Now, Forrest Gump is great. It's a wonderful film, but I did not think Forrest Gump was better than Pulp Fiction. And that was Tom Hanks' second Oscar, because he had one for Philadelphia and one for Forrest Gump. The funny thing about Hanks is he made two other films after that, to me, were his better performances, and he didn't win. He didn't win an Oscar for Saving Private Ryan, and he didn't win an Oscar for Castaway. And that's it. Like, Tom Hanks has not won any more Oscars since Forrest Gump, and he's done a lot of wonderful things since then. So that's how the Oscars work. So Travolta Hollywood got this thing. If you make a lot of money for Hollywood, they do not give you an Oscar. Tom Cruise should have won for Born on the 4th of July for all the money he made. Eddie Murphy should have won for Dreamgirls for all the money he made for Hollywood. Jim Carrey could have won for Man on the Moon, The Truman Show, Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind. They just don't like giving awards to people who really make a lot of money, and for them. And John Travolta's the same way. John Travolta was nominated for an Oscar for Saturday Night Fever. He didn't win because he was new. He was a young artist, so I understood that. But man, Saturday Night Fever, Grease, Urban Cowboy. So by the time we get to Pulp Fiction, because his career was always up and down, by the time we get to Pulp Fiction, it's almost like, you know what, John was really good in his role, and he deserves this for not just for being a pop icon, but just being a really good actor. Nothing. He lost to Tom. Sam Jackson, he lost to Martin Landau. Martin Landau was in Ed Wood. Love Martin Landau, love Ed Wood. Nah, Sam deserved that Oscar for playing Jules. Iconic character, iconic role. Uma Thurman could have won Best Supporting, playing Marcellus' wife, Mia. But fine, she didn't win Best Supporting Actress then. Diane Wiest won for Woody Allen's Bullets Over Broadway. She should have won for Kill Bill 1 or 2. If Uma didn't get that for Pulp Fiction, she definitely should have won for Tarantino's Kill Bill 1 and 2, or 1 or 2 or 2. Doesn't matter. Uma deserved an Oscar for that. And Tarantino lost Best Director to Robert Zemeckis. So what are your thoughts of Pulp Fiction 30 years later? How do you think it stands up? I think it stands up great. Like, every time it's on, I'm watching it. I can't watch the whole thing. It's super long. But man, my mind is still totally blown by that film. Like, I don't even know how you sit down and write something like that. And they had to know because they went to Cannes first, and there was like a big buzz coming out of Cannes about that film. And I think Sam Jackson won an award at Cannes for that. He won for Gator. I think he won for Gator for Jungle Fever. But man, what do you think about Pulp Fiction? Like, how good is that film? Is that your favorite Tarantino film? It's my favorite Tarantino film. Now, he's made a bunch of good films after that, but it's my favorite. But if Pulp Fiction isn't your favorite Tarantino film, what is? What is your favorite Sam Jackson film? What is your favorite John Travolta film? And between the Kill Bills, which one do you like better? Kill 1 or Kill Bill 2? It's hard, man. Uma was so great in that. Shout out to Pulp Fiction. 30 years. I just wish ticket prices were still $4. Oh, those are the days.